We are now 4 months into the Macron presidency in France, and just a day before this very highly expected labor reform, and I'm very happy to be joined by Pierre Gattaz. He is the MEDEF president. Good morning.
Good morning.
So first a question on the euro. Yes. We saw the euro hitting $1.20. How concerned are you about the strength of the euro?
Yes, we've got to be careful that euro doesn't go too high. Why? Because we need to export, especially on the French situation. Economy is well, I would say good, but should be better. And to be better, we need to export more. So if euro is too high, it can, weaken or delay the recovery of the French economy. So I would say, okay, for 120, but I would prefer, as a business guy, not that it doesn't go too high, of course, against dollar.
Tomorrow, of course, Macron is going to finally give details on this labor reform that everyone has been expecting. You've been negotiating already with the unions, with the government over the past few weeks. What is the #1 measure of the labor reform that you think is going to make a real difference?
I think which is very important is to give more flexibility to the business community, and so allow the smallest companies to negotiate discussions, to negotiate agreements directly with the employees, especially on the small and very small companies. So this is the most important point, to give freedom, to give trust, to give the tools to negotiate. So we are expecting a lot on that labor law. He described that. This is part of the program. This is a very important part of the program that he described for months. So now we are expecting that he is going to do these reforms, and we are rather confident to do that. It will be so important in order to push the French economy back to big growth and employment, of course.
So you think the most important highlight of this reform would be to negotiate at the local company level, bypassing the national unions?
Yes, I think if people have unions in their company, so you have to negotiate with unions, it's normal. If you don't have unions, you should be able to negotiate without the unions and with one of your delegates, I would say, the employee delegate, in order to advance, to adapt, to take decisions and to make action plans in this world which is moving, which is full of opportunity, by the way. So this is what we were expecting. And again, this is part of the program of Macron. So he was elected on this program. So I hope he is going to do it tomorrow.
Still, the unions are planning a first major strike on September 12th. Should we be worried about France being paralyzed over the next few weeks with major protests?
Well, I think, there's been a lot of discussions with the unions, for months, for 3 months. A lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. They are not been taken by surprise, because this is part of the program of Macron again. So we think that a part of the union, the reformist unions, will, I hope, accept that. The other part, the more hard part of the unions, CGT for instance, they will be on the street. They will be on the street for obvious. I believe that I am not expecting massive strikes. I'm expecting, like in all countries, or in Germany, 2003, or Italy, or Spain, there will be some people which will not be against in any case. So, but I don't expect, massive things in France.
At the same time, the government and the finance minister, Bruno Le Maire, who's going to be here today, is also suggesting we could have a new tax on companies with revenues of more than 1 billion euros. Is that a mixed message on taxes here?
Yes, I think that one thing which is very important in the Macron's program, so it's simplifying the labor law on one side and decreasing the tax burden on the other side. So,
but for smaller companies, does that mean it's okay to have less taxes for smaller companies and more taxes for big companies?
No, I think it's crazy. I think we should decrease the taxes for everybody, for the big companies as well as for the smallest companies, which is very important. So in any case, we have to decrease the corporate taxes. This is part of the program, and they are going to, I think, confirm that. That's the first point. Then you have all the local tax, which has to be decreased too. So this is part of our lobbying, I will say, and it's important to give oxygen and to restore the margins of the French companies. But they want to do it. So again, it's a good news, and this is part of what they are going to announce in September. So we will be very vigilant about the fact that, again, devil is in the details. So we have to be very careful that they are going to do it very, and harmonize that through Europe, by the way.
This idea that Bruno Le Maire told me at the beginning of this month of tax harmonization between France and Germany, lowering the corporate tax for the two biggest Eurozone economies to 25%. Yes. Do you think this is actually realistic?
I think it's a very important goal for Europe. It will take maybe 5 years, 10 years. It is very important to have a social and fiscal tax harmonization within Europe. So I believe that, and starting by the big countries of Europe, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and then, and 25% is a good objective. Then we'll see. But we have to do it. We have to harmonize. So important to build a strong Europe.
Very quickly on Brexit.
Yes.
It seems like the two sides are a little stuck in the negotiating process at the moment. Do you think the EU should show more flexibility in trying to negotiate some trade agreement at the same time as the divorce bill?
First of all, I think it's not a good news. Brexit is not a good news for Europe and for our UK people, France. And well, now they have decided to leave the EU boat. So they have to pay something, the debts. So the negotiations must to be carried out. And we are talking about between 40 billion to 90 billion. So I understand that there's negotiation. I understand it's a hard negotiation. But some people who say, I want to leave the building or I want to leave the boat, have to pay something because, you share the profits, you share the benefits on one side, but you have to pay before your dates. So this is normal, I would say. So now negotiations must be, carried out up to the final point. So it's certainly a long negotiations, unfortunately.